Aloha. I knew this video was gonna push a whole bunch of buttons as soon as it was uploading, but that wasn't gonna stop me from continuing to put it out there because this is definitely a part of the story, and it is a touchy subject for so many people because this is at the foundation, it is at the roots of understanding, understanding, and overstanding this whole separation program, which is what I referenced in the video as a whole. This video was meant to bring about a topic that is directly related to the separation program, that is the flat earth separation program. This individual, who I guess used to be a subscriber, says, "What the fuck does flat earth have anything to do with white privilege or race at all?" Well, the university system is based upon the white supremacy program. You can see that the entire economic system, the business system, the so-called founding fathers of the United States, the colonial program is the foundation for separating the divide and conquer program. That is the old way of controlling people, and the new way of controlling people is the unite and conquer mentality. People don't see this stuff, but these comments actually brought it out last night even further into those words for me to have to say this, because I had been mentioning it through all the videos, or all the previous videos that I've been putting together when I speak on the new age stuff, because it's all love and light. It's all based upon like just pretty much just ignorance. Just ignore all the history that's been going on, lump it together in this love and light box, say that we're all one. This is why they're triggering all the gay agenda stuff. The transhumanist movement is in order to water down everybody. It's made out there to make everybody just caught up in the new version of understanding ourselves. The new version of, it's basically a misunderstanding of ourselves. And if we don't go, and the reason why I speak on this a lot, even more so now, is because we have to go in the order of events. We have to address each order of events in order to truly understand what is going on here. So if people like Karina can't see how white supremacy is directly linked to the flat earth model, which is NASA, which is full of Nazis, not to mention that fact also, literally, but also to see how it is a direct correlation to separation. You are separated from your brothers and sisters on the earth plane when the white supremacy program exists, period. End of story. You can look at Hollywood, you can look at the university system, you can look at the politics, you can look at the colonial system as a whole and see that white supremacy exists and still exists today. Heavy duty. A lot of people, this is another thing, like people can't even get jobs because of skin color. That is no difference than segregation back in the 60s and 50s. No fucking difference. They just don't speak about it today like that. It's just not referred to today like that. So if that stuff still exists today, then what else is connected to that unspeakable stuff that is still existing? What else is it related to? Since I have gone into unveiling a lot of the flat earth stuff and all the other so-called conspiracy stuff that's out there, it's easy for me to see how this separation program, and a lot of people have seen this too, I'm not the only one, and I want to thank the people who have commented and have reached out and liked this video, because it's taken some hits. Like, it's like 11 likes and 9 dislikes. I knew it was gonna get a whole bunch of dislikes, but that doesn't. I'm not giving a shit about that. This video is about the content. All the videos that I do are about the content, and the intent there is information. I'm not here to like do anything other than that. I'm just here to be unapologetically what is going on in my head, what is going on in my life, what has gone on with my whole understandings of everything that's going on, and then I make it available and share it with people. If you like it, cool. If you dislike it, that's still cool, because now you understood something that you might not have understood before. It triggers something before. Something is better than nothing. I'd rather have you hate me and understand something new, or hear something new, at least hear something new, or hear another perspective, than like me and not know all of what I'm really talking about, or all of who I am, because then you really don't like me or understand me. You're just liking some fucking program that you're creating to keep yourself happy. I don't want that shit. If you don't want to subscribe, if you don't want to be a subscriber, then don't subscribe. That's not gonna make me any kind of way. That's not for me. The subscription is for you, not for me. I don't. That's to subscribe is not for me. That is for you. So when people say, I'm gonna subscribe from this channel, like, okay, that's fine. That is fine. That is what you need to do. I'm gonna keep doing what the fuck I do on a regular basis, which is make these videos. So, yeah, when it goes to like, I hate people who have to make everything about race. Shut the fuck up. Like, okay. It's not making everything about race. It's speaking on race. That's the thing that's taboo. That the thing that's messed up is that even speaking about race, speaking about the supremacy program, speaking about white privilege, that alone is taboo for a lot of people. Like, it makes the beat, and that is because the supremacy program is so ingrained within our very natures, our personalities, our understandings of what's going on, and our misunderstandings of what's going on. And it's still active right now. And there are so many other programs out there that say, well, it's not a thing. So you can see that, like, you see with the dislikes on here, like, for whatever reason, maybe it could be a combination of the flat earth community and people who just think I'm a racist or whatever it may be. But it's still a thing. Like I said in the video, this is not to attack or anything. This is to bring about... I'm actually being fucking nice in this video. That's the thing. In the last video, in this video you're looking at right now, I'm being nice. I'm holding back. Like, I could go way deeper into this... this understanding of things, talking about white privilege, talking about white supremacy, but I don't want to focus on it that much because there's so much more that I can share in reference to this storyline, and that's not my focus. There have been many people in the past, like Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, Dr. Edward Bruce Bynum, Dr. Phil Valentine, a lot of people in the conscious community, black consciousness community, Bobby Hemmett, there's a lot of information, and I'll just go to the playlist so you can see a lot of the people that I've referenced to really talk about this stuff. But this video, I really wanted to focus on will just bring light to how this whole thing, share like some of the things that I've responded to in the comments, and also address the whole unite and conquer mentality, because that is the next Vicodin that is being promoted to people right now. Because the old program, which is the white supremacy program, which is still active today, is about divide and conquer. That is the main point. It's about divide and conquer. Make everything black and white, because there are no black people and there are no white people. It's way more complex than that and way more beautiful than that. The true story is way more beautiful than that. So when I speak about white supremacy, I'm talking about a mindset, a psyche. I'm talking about what has led up to the slavery program that we exist in today, that is about the mind that has been conquered. It has nothing to do with specific race and all that other stuff, especially today when you're looking at the entire world being enslaved. This is about how these old programs of divide and conquer are still active today, in the sense where it's, instead of it's whips and chains and lynching people, it's niceties. It's like, oh, well, everything is okay. Everything is nice. We're so changed. We're all one now. Everything, we can't be divided anymore. That whole mentality. You just skipped over all of everything that happened in our past, in our history, and downloaded a new version of reality. If you do that, you are creating a deeper separation and building your roots in a shallow layer of reality. That is what the New Age program is based on. That is what the Transhumanist program is based on. That is what the so-called flat earth community in this moment is based on, which is why I put that video in the background with flat earth and other hot potatoes, is because they have had long enough to address the most obvious separation program of the white supremacy and white privilege program. They have had more than enough time to understand that this exists, not to mention the fact that so many people, so much information is out there, but they have consistently ignored it, whether they have been aware of it or not. I made this video to make them be aware of it because it's been going on long enough. They are talking about, they call themselves the flat earth community, flat earth and other hot potatoes. They are talking about earth. So if you are speaking on earth, you are speaking about the earth peoples. You have to tell the earth story, not just the science of the flat part. They are only they in the so-called flat earth community are only talking about the flat part. They don't want to talk about the earth part, the earth people. They don't want to talk about the people, the relationship to the sun. They just want to talk about the science of the sun. They don't want to talk about the humans and the relationship to the sun. They want to talk about the science of the sun. They want to talk about the fluffy shit. But if you're going to talk about flat earth, I'm going to talk about the earth first. Then I'll talk about how it's possibly flat. All I know is that it's not what we've been told by NASA and the globe shit. It's deeper than that. So if I only focus on the flat and I don't talk about the earth part, then somebody needs to hold me accountable for that shit, because I'm missing something out. So if I know that mindset and I can see that, then I'm gonna go ahead and do that for other people. And it's not that hard, because there's a lot of channels out there with a lot of followings who are saying, It's all about the flatness, the science and the math and all that stuff. That's all they speak about. That is fucked up. How I'm seeing it is really messed up, because there are people who are still suffering today. Everybody wants to talk about this oneness and united and all that shit. People need to realize that that is the next control grid. The old control grid was divide and conquer. The new control grid is unite and conquer. Why do you think they was talking about all this European Union shit? This African Union shit? This North American Union shit? All this union talk, they are creating an artificial union, an artificial unity. And that will be the new version of control. And the new age is at the forefront of that mentality. Talking about love and light. You can even see John Cena did a video for, I don't know, whatever. It was on the trending thing yesterday. Talking about how we're all talking about America, some 4th of July shit. And it was talking about, it lumped everybody together again. It was like we got gay people, we got Asian people, we got Muslims, we got black people, we got Mexican people, we got all this stuff. And this is America, I got set fireworks off the size of my biceps today. This is that whole fucking, this is a movie reel. They are playing a commercial version of reality and watering everything down in order to get people just to lock in to that reality and to just say, well, everything is okay now. Why? Because the so-called powers that be have said so. That's the mentality that's going on right now. People don't realize that they're still in that mentality of, this is, it's so icky. That's the thing. It's so like sticky and slimy to even speak on this stuff, which is the intent of the program. It's like you don't even want to go into talking about that. It is not it's not comfortable. And that's what these channels like. And I focus on Flat Earth and Other Hot Potatoes because she brings on a lot of the so-called Flat Earth community. And she speaks to a lot of people. She just sucks everybody in and then talks about, like, oh, well, how did you find out about the Flat Earth? How did you do this? How did you do that? And what about the curvature, globe models, and people and all this, and talking with the globe heads and all this other stuff. Like it's a movie reel. It's a total movie reel, and it's messed up because the potential to speak on so much more is there, but it's consistently ignored. And that's a problem. And if it is intended to be that way, like the New Age community doesn't speak on a lot of things, and that's the intention, because they need people to be caught up in just like the rainbow version, the fairy tale, fairy dust version of change and understandings in order to buy the new program. They're already selling fairy dust to people. They're already selling bullshit to people in order to get people to buy the new programs. It's a psychological takedown. They're gonna tell you, oh, this is about uniting. We're all united. We're all one. We're all this. That's the easy way out. That's throwing all of the indigenous history, the people who use these flat earth models of the Inca cosmology, the Navajo cosmology, the Mayan cosmology. When you see those maps, when you see those images on those paintings, that is just like everything else that has been co-opted by the supremacy program. It is taking only a little bit of the understanding and selling that as, what's really going on, and not really talking about the essence that is in those paintings, that is in those storylines. They don't want to talk about the Mayan cosmology. They don't want to talk about the Mayan creation myth, the mythology. They want to leave it as myth, but they want to take the actual image and only talk about the image. That's at the essence of why I address this so-called flat earth community, is because they don't want to talk about the actual stories of the essence of the peoples of those Mayan cosmology maps that they reference all the time. No, they don't want to talk about that. They want to talk about the flatness of it. Because if they were going into the actual storylines of those images, then they would start to unravel the white supremacy program and have to go deeper into understanding themselves. But that is too much to take on, especially in public. Especially in public, which is YouTube in one sense. So they stay safe in this little, well, let's just talk about how you did it, how you got here. Let's just talk about the science and math of flat earth, and let's not talk about anything else. That right there is a psyop, whether you fucking realize it or not. That is a problem. Because you just want to take all the image. Oh, let's talk about the Mayans. See, the Mayans did a flat earth thing. The Inca did a flat earth map. The Navajo have a flat earth map. Yeah, see, it's all flat. Let's talk about the science of that. Never going into talking about what they actually were saying. They never go into that. So where's the map at? They never want to go into what the actual Mayan people, I know I used it for a thumbnail here somewhere. So yeah, they just want to talk about avoid this ball of confusion, like on this waxing rhapsodic one. Just one example. Like, they just want to talk about like the science of the flatness and maybe the dome, and ball up all this national stuff into a big ball and then just leave it there. And then just like say, oh, those are the bad guys, let's not talk about that. And they don't want to talk about the origins or anything like that. All this shit is connected. So you guys know what I'm talking about, but some people might not have seen the image that I'm referencing when I talk about the Mayan cosmology. See, like this, that people even reference the ancient Commission one right here. Like, people even reference Nut and the stars, the flatness of all this. They reference that, but they don't want to go into understanding what else is all connected to the Ankh and the underworld and Isis and Osiris and all that other stuff. They don't want to go into talking about that stuff because that is too much. See, here it is right here. This is the Mayan and flat earth and the Ark. This is that map that's in there. You see that map a lot. That is the Mayan cosmology of the ancient sky watchers. And you can see, I don't want to click out right now and go to the other thing because I want to go into something else. You can see all of those images inside of there that are that each have a meaning. The sun, the moon, and something else floating in the sky. The colors of the medicine wheel, the white, the red, the yellow, the black. You have the underworld, you have a pyramid in the center, you have all these hieroglyphs on the outside of the outer rim. The Mayan people were a lot more complicated, very, very smart, very tuned into nature and the reality. And to only take this image and only use it for your so-called proof of the flat earth and never talk about the actual people, that is fucked up. And that is why I made this video. That is at the heart of the reason why I made this video, because it's no different than the co-opting of everything else that has happened, just like in the Major League Baseball program. Everything is co-opted, stolen, and watered down in order to sell a new program, a new agenda, never going into the depths. That is what the new program is about. The old program is about divide and conquer. Just divide, steal all the history, steal all the artifacts, stick it in the museum, study all this stuff, put out only a little bit in the university system, say that you are the conquerors and the smartest people that are out there, say that you invented everything, make everybody a part of your system, and say that nothing else exists. That is no different than people in the so-called flat earth community taking these images like the Incan cosmology and the Navajo cosmology and the ancient Cometian cosmology and the Vedic cosmology and the Mayan cosmology, taking all these images and then only talking about the cartoon, only talking about one painting, never going into the depths of understanding what those images and what those connections to humanity actually mean. They only want to talk about what benefits them, what makes their subscribers and all that shit happy. I'm not here to make people happy. I'm not here to do that. I'm here to share information, and that's what all these other so-called flat earth channels are claiming to do. But when you really go into unraveling how deep this story goes and what they're really talking about, then you can see that it is a lot further than that. It is a lot deeper than just, this surface layer of flatness and NASA. No, it's a lot deeper than that. So for people who are asking about, where is it at? For people who are asking about stuff, this is a playlist that I put together if you haven't seen it yet. This is just a collection of all these little videos that are available on YouTube that are just a bunch of dots that I've put out there to help people see how far this stuff goes. Because it's not just about flat earth. You have to go into the depths of it. And this playlist was actually why I started to make videos, is because I wanted to share with people that this information that these people have been doing exists. So yes, Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, who can't be understood with a few YouTube videos. You have to go into her teaching, her books, all this information. She passed this past year, but she's been speaking in reference to the white supremacy program and how deep it goes since the 60s. She's been on Donahue. She's been speaking to Stanford University people and setting them straight back in the 80s and all kinds of shit. She's been out there. It's a lot, and she exists. So, yes, the Native Americans that are locked up today, right now, like Leonard Peltier, the political activists that are out there, all this stuff is directly related to there's 0 degrees of separation from flat earth and the white supremacy program, just like there's 0 degrees of separation from political activists and all these ancient creation myths and all this stuff, there's 0 degrees of separation between the stuff that's going on today. And if you haven't spoken on it, it's because you haven't gone into it yourself. There's more there. We are constantly growing. We are in a constant state of change. And the so-called powers that be know this. And if they know that we are uniting on our own. We are bringing the internet and information has brought people together. But that is not the whole storyline. That is what that they're going to, the so-called they will play that role in order to get people to fall into a new control grid, which was utilized in the past by scaring the shit out of people and killing them, which is now they can't do that anymore because people will fight back and they don't want that. It's now gone into, instead of divide and conquer, they're trying to unite and conquer. It's not only about division and all that other stuff. In this unite and conquer mentality, they're still going to maintain the divisive program. And it's not about, like I said in one of the comments, it's not about the divide and conquer and the unite and conquer. It's about who's actually doing the dividing and who's doing the uniting. If it's being pushed by a certain mentality or a certain group or a certain perspective without going into the depths of it, then that is no different than the divide and conquer mentality. So if we don't know about a lot of these things that exist out here, then we're going to be missing. We're going to be missing out. So yeah, Bobby Hemmett, Phil Valentine, Dr. Ivan Van Sertima, Dr. Yosef Ben Yakinen, Shidu Krishnamurti, more of a personal, the internal spaces of what's going on. Obviously, Terence McKenna and going into the higher spaces of understandings, the consciousness as a whole. African Genesis, I would highly recommend looking into. These are just 3, 4, 5, and 9. These mostly focus on melanin and neuromelanin, the differences between the two. The first 2 videos here, if you go onto this African Liberation channel or just YouTube, Dr. Edward Bruce Bynum, he pretty much lays the whole story out of, he even links in, he comes from like all kinds of different perspectives, but he goes into the depths of melanin and specifically neuromelanin, and more of a scientific perspective. And like he references in this video, science is not the bad guy. Like, science originated in alchemy in ancient Egypt. The true science is here. The science that we have today is science with a PSY. It's a control grid science. But if we go into truly understanding who and what we are on the true scientific levels, then that's when things start to get out of hand for the control grid. And this is what he's referencing in here. Yeah. Dick Gregory is still out there talking about stuff today. He goes on some pretty intense perspectives here, but they are valid nonetheless. And like a lot of this stuff on here, it's an adjustment phase. Like, you have to see the information for the information. If you have any judgments or anything on it, that is an internal thing. Because we have information, and not everybody's going to be able to tell all the stories and all this other stuff. You have to take the information for what it is. If some of the information doesn't match or doesn't fit with you right now, then don't take that information. You can't throw all of the information out just because you don't like one thing. Like, I don't like a lot of little things that, well, not so much a lot anyway, but today, But some of the things that even Dick Gregory references today, I don't go into because I have a different perspective. That doesn't mean I'm not going to listen to him or I'm going to disrespect him or any kind of way like that. No, I'll just take the information that he's putting out there and then not take the information that doesn't vibe with me. And that's just like the cleanest way to deal with anything or to interact with anything, is to really just take what's for you and leave the rest. And then eventually that information, the rest of the information, will either download later on or it won't, or it'll come from another source. Either way, you won't be missing anything if you are open to the information as a whole. So a lot of these perspectives are like from my journey. So like I don't come from a lot of these perspectives today because there's a bigger storyline, but for some people haven't really seen this stuff. So like the angry eye, for people who are still having issues with understanding racism and everything, look into Jane Elliott. Look into that. And she's still out there working today too. If you haven't seen the angry eye and the brown eye, blue eye experiment, you need to watch that shit. That's highly recommended. Jane Elliott, the angry eye. John Trudell, he's a old poet. He's passed now too. Older activist. Really look into that. Predating the melanated peoples that were in the Americas before Columbus. The stories that are pre-Columbian stories all exist. Washita Moors, the other individuals, like people want to jump straight from out of the university system straight into Atlantis, straight into Lemuria, straight into the Pleiades, straight into Sirius, the star systems. They want to jump straight out of the public education system and jump into the stars. That is a problem. That is an escapism. That is a prescription drug. If you can't talk about, if you skip these stories, if you skip the any of the stories, then that will create a cancer. That will create the white supremacy program is a cancer. And if you don't get all of it out naturally, if you try to use chemotherapy and aspirin and fairy dust to get rid of the cancer that is anything that is something that you don't speak on, like the white supremacy program, then it will constantly be there and you will fall within another control grid. James Baldwin speaks heavy duty on a lot of things. I'd recommend his this National Press Club speech if you never heard of him. He is actually speaking on C-SPAN at the National Press Club in 1986, and he says some heavy duty shit, and it'll make you think, like, why in 1986 was he allowed to say all this stuff or saying this stuff compared to what you're hearing today? Shit. Basically, you're hearing nothing. If you're listening to Obama and any of the senators and all this other shit, you are listening to nothing in comparison to what has already been said by so many people for so long. Desecration of Ohlone lands. There's a mall built on top of Ohlone shell mounds. It's a burial ground in the Bay Area. There's shell mounds all over the Bay Area. This is kind of like at the foundation of why I speak on what I speak on, is because there are literal malls, Old Navy, Victoria's Secret, AMC Theaters, the Gap, Apple Store, PF Chang's, Forever 21, Banana Republic. All these stores are literally sitting on top of ancient burial grounds Right now, when they dug up that foundation to put in that mall, they were digging up Native American bones, Ohlone bones, taking them out and throwing them away. That is what's happening on a regular basis. That is what this foundation is built on. And the program itself wants to avoid the fact that that stuff exists in order for them to keep having the ability to go to the mall, to go to the Victoria's Secret. That is why people are not allowing themselves to go into the depths of this program, because they can't let go of what has been created from this cancerous system. So people are holding on to the cancer because it's comfortable. And I'm not going to let that happen. If it's going to happen so people are going to hold on to whatever they're going to hold on to. But if I can share a little bit of information here and there, and, you know, two people out of however, or two or three or five or however many people out of here can, you know, pick up one thing and then link that to something else and start to truly unveiling how deep this story goes, then that's all I wanted to do. Because somebody has to do it. It needs to be spoken on. So if you don't know about Black Wall Street and the bombings in Tulsa, Oklahoma, straight up bombed by the government. Black Wall Street dropped dynamite on people. Not just people, but black people, an entire black community that was Black Wall Street, that was and a lot of people don't even know that it existed. Which, if it still existed, if it wasn't bombed, it would have overtaken the so-called Wall Street that we have today. Like, people don't know this stuff, how deep this privilege and supremacy program goes. It's very sinister. It is deep. And if you don't get that sinister and deep cancer out of the system, internally, individually, first, before it can be done collectively, if you don't do that, it will keep resurfacing. So, this is why I speak on this stuff. And shit. Yeah, so Chiron Last is more like it's one of my favorite channels because he goes into like the depths of understanding language as a whole, and the programming of language, and the actual, like, breaking down words, breaking down the stories as a whole, and relating them to everything that's going on right now. I really dig that channel, so check out Chiron Last and all that stuff. He really talks about the Maritime Admiralty system a lot, breaking down the understanding of occult stuff. Yeah, Golden Web is the, like, kind of breakdown of everything. It's like a 3-parter. I would highly recommend that. Yeah, all this is information that you can just take some and leave the rest, but it's all part of the story. If it resonates with you, then check it out. If not, then don't. Yeah, so yeah, people are slowly but surely speaking about stuff here and there. Yeah. So that's pretty much it. I just really wanted to expand upon this last video, address this video that I did yesterday, because I knew it was gonna take some kickback. But it's definitely part of this whole program, this whole story. It's very important, and the very fact that there is a significant amount of kickback for me speaking on this is a testament to the cancer that still exists. It's because there's people who completely understand where I'm coming from, and there are people who completely don't. So I'm speaking to the people who are in the middle, who are on the fence about this stuff, and really looking to see like what else is out there, truly open to information as a whole, and really trying to figure out what's going on here, how deep this story goes, and not sacrificing anything, not limiting, not forgetting anything, not being ignorant of anything, but truly open to understanding what's going on. If you are set in your ways of the globe model, if you are set in your ways of how racism isn't a part of anything, if you are set in your ways of, the flat earth is only about science and math, or the flat earth is only about this and that, then that's on you. That's up to you. That's fine. That's fine. But this is my channel. This is what the fuck I'm gonna do. This is what I'm gonna talk about. And if you don't like it, then you don't have to be here. You don't have to watch these videos. You can move and find what you like to watch. That's fine. That's not on me. What's on me is to be all of who I am and what I am, unapologetically speaking about what I'm about. Period. End of story. And if I don't put that whole thing out there, then I'm not doing myself any justice, and I'm not doing the people who are watching this, who are truly interested in what I'm talking about, any justice, and I'm not doing any the system as a whole or anything that I'm talking about any justice if I don't put everything that I'm about out there. And that's why I spoke on this, and this is why I will continue to speak on issues like this and expand upon issues like this, especially knowing that the next step for this program is to so-called unite people in order to conquer people. The old program was based on dividing people and conquering them. And they do that with information. Lack of information, disinformation, misinformation, distraction, and emotional triggering. And that's what this whole thing is about. They want to pin people up against each other, co-opt information, talk about only about 20% about the storyline, really amplify about 10-20% of the true story, get it out there, say that's the truth, and then forget about the other 80 and 90% of the storyline that's out there. And they want to jump straight from first and second gear to fifth gear. They want to skip third and fourth gear, because third and fourth gear is too murky. It's too mucky for them. Not to mention the fact that it's just really just because they want more of a control. If you start to understand first, second, third, and fourth gear, then the fifth gear won't be allowed to be controlled. That's the main point with co-opting information, putting out disinformation, skipping information, not going into the depths of other information, is because they need to control people. That's at the essence of it. So that's pretty much it, and thank you for joining me. Until next time, from all my relations, peace, love, and harmony.